dear sisters and brothers, it is a great pleasure and a privilege for me to welcome all of you participants to this 21st General Assembly of the Society of African Missions. We have 21 ex officio representatives. Marcos Delgado represents Spain in an official capacity in place of Rafael Marco, who is indisposed, and 23 elected delegates to this assembly. We are still waiting Alan de Guzman from Philippines. Hopefully he will be here soon. We come from 17 existing units and 19 countries, reflecting the broad international character of this missionary family. As well as those present in this room, I welcome all those who are following us on live streaming. For the first time, the opening address is being live streamed for all members and supporters to engage with us. I ask you to accompany us with your prayers throughout the coming weeks. And each day, there will be a media event summarizing the main events and elements of the day. I welcome in a particular way our two lay representatives, Bojina Latopka and Dimna Malan, who have been invited to live and work with us during this assembly. I believe it is the first time that we have two laity representatives at the General Assembly. Significant too is the fact that both of you are women, and I believe your feminine genius will contribute in a very meaningful way to produce fruitful outcomes. I welcome our two facilitators, Sister Jean-Marie Ouedraogo and Father Basil Shoyoye. Basil needs little introduction to any of us here. He's a member of the Nigerian district in formation, formerly carrying, among others, the following responsibilities: Director of the Stage Program in Cairo, Egypt, Rector of Bodija, Ibadan, Superior of the Baita Benin district in formation, Superior of the Spiritual Year Center at Calavi, and presently Director of Carrefour des Cultures Africaines at 150 Cour Gambetta in Lyon. Sister Jean-Marie is a native of Burkina Faso and comes to us from the Communauté des Centres Spirituels at Le Pomelin, France. I am grateful to you both for graciously accepting our invitation to serve as facilitators for this assembly. Our welcome our translators Michel Saladogo and Dominic Vabiri, our secretaries Sylvia Atta and Steve Phillips, and our media team of Gerard Sagnol and Charles Jabamalaya. Also Andrea Coy and Dominic are part of that media team. Many participants are coming to an assembly for the very first time. Some may have been here before in other service roles, but are coming now for the very first time as members of the assembly. By my reckoning, well over 50% of participants are enjoying this experience for the first time. I hope it will be for you and for all of us a deeply nourishing experience of our common life in Christ. We must begin then by giving thanks to God for calling us to God's mission and making it possible for us to reach this day. I am particularly grateful that God has supported us throughout these 6 years, in spite of our frailties, inadequacies, and inconsistent responses, to launch onto a new pathway. I am grateful for all the support I have received personally from my council and support team, and from all the confreres and associates I have met during my travels. It has been a deeply humbling but most rewarding experience. We have chosen, for what I believe may be the first time, to have our assembly outside of our house at Nocheta. Accommodation availability at Nocheta would simply not be sufficient to meet the demand. We have come here to La Casa per Ferie on Via di Valcanuta. Coming here to this centre allows us all to be together throughout. No rushing to and fro to Casa Benefratelli to grab a hurried siesta. We have been welcomed warmly by the staff of this premises, and they are ready to put whatever is needed at our disposal. We have spacious grounds in which to walk, pray, sit, and play. This is a convent of La Compagnia de Santa Teresa di Gesù, whose community live in a section of the building, and so we work in an atmosphere of prayer. I am confident that our stay here will be both comfortable and enjoyable, and will enable us to attend to the tasks demanded of us. We are embarking on this venture with a new approach. For over 3 years now, the General Council has been discussing what might be the best approach to adopt for General Assembly 219. Our choice for the appreciative discernment approach was approved by Plenary Council 217. There, we chose as the theme for the Assembly, a family faithful to its missionary charism in the changing and complex context of today. The appreciative discernment approach seeks to begin from our strengths and then to try to build on those into the future. We have all been engaging with the process for over a year now. Though through our apostolic communities and our places of mission. And I offer my gratitude here to the members of the Preparatory Commission for producing some guiding questions to aid in the stages of discovery and initial dream stage. The questionnaire was published as Bulletin 148, and I wish to record that there was a very good and serious engagement with this questionnaire throughout the Society. My thanks to the members themselves and to the leaders who organised meetings at different levels. The responses to the questionnaire throughout the Society is produced in Bulletin number 151 and will form the backdrop for our work here on the following stages: Dream 2, Design, and Do It. The methodology will be explained in detail later today. I am conscious that we live our mission today in a global context that is fractious. Wars and rumors of wars are all about us. The mission we live as SMA is in many places a context of high security, insecurity. We cannot but have foremost in our thoughts and prayers today our confrere Pierre Luigi Macali, kidnapped in Bomoanga, Niger, on the night of September 17th last year. His whereabouts have still to be identified. We earnestly pray, as we have been doing on a daily basis these last 7+ months, for his safe release. We must also keep in mind that 2 other confreres were kidnapped during this past mandate. Thankfully, both were released physically unharmed after a number of days. Groups such as Boko Haram in Nigeria and Niger, and Seleka and Anti-Balaka in Central Africa, have been wreaking havoc on those countries and their peoples. In such areas of high insecurity and terror, while NGO personnel may leave for safety reasons, missionaries and church personnel stay, ready to lay down their lives for their flock. Many opportunities for growth are presented to us during this assembly. We will dream, design, and implement the best leadership and structures that can aid our mission going forward. This will be a challenging task, but I have no doubt that this assembly is ready to take on the challenge. Thankfully, we are not coming at it from scratch, and my gratitude goes to the members of the Structures Commission and all those who subsequently engage with this process through their apostolic communities, to contribute to a working document that can lead to the road forward. One challenge, and perhaps even a tension in this past mandate, has been that of trying to maintain and even strengthen SMA presence in older units, while at the same time maintaining our primary focus on Africa and its peoples. New missions have been opened in various countries of Europe and North America. I believe this reality will continue to be a challenge and opportunity for the coming 6 years. Our task here will be to design and implement policies and action plans for better outcomes. Another challenge will be to maintain or even strengthen our charism of being missionaries ad extra, ad gentes, and ad vitam. I hope we can strengthen our apostolic zeal. I am grateful to Father Bruno Simplicio, former postulator for the cause of the founder, who has, over these past years, been regularly calling to our attention that we are called by our founder to do just as the apostles did. Keeping this focus constantly in mind will aid us in dreaming and designing how we live our mission with greater fidelity today. I have no doubt that this will include ways of greater inclusiveness of laity in order to improve our response and empower the laity to more fully exercise their baptismal call to mission. We will, of course, be electing a Superior General and Council to lead the Society for the coming 6 years. I pray that we will do a good discernment and make good choices. Pope Francis was elected to be the servant of the servants of God just a mere few weeks before this mandate began. So, our mandate has been contemporaneous with that of Pope Francis. His influence for good in our world is incalculable. 2 seminal documents of his pontificate, Evangelii Gaudium and Laudato Si', have had a huge influence on the Church and wider society. Dare I say it, but they are critical documents for the SMA. Inaugurating the Year of Mercy at the door of the Cathedral of Bangui in Central Africa was a powerful and prophetic message to us and to the world. We are truly privileged to live our mission journey in the time of Pope Francis. And we are truly privileged too to be received in audience by His Holiness on May the 17th. I personally come to this assembly with great hope for the future. In the scriptures, we do not hear many words like success, but we hear a lot about fruitfulness. We live our assembly in the light of Easter. We have been reliving and will continue throughout the assembly to relive the experience of the early Christians as they came to deepen belief in the resurrection of Jesus and that God's kingdom has really broken into our world. It is the basis of all our faith. It is the basis of all our hope. There is a missionary imperative, not to stay locked in our rooms in fear, but rather to march on with the courage of a convicted Christian and proclaim to all and sundry the good news and confess Jesus Christ as Lord. My belief is that this assembly will be fruitful. My belief rests on the fact that it is indeed not our mission we serve, but rather God's mission entrusted to us with our specific charism as SMA. We will discern and reflect and decide together on behalf of the whole society. We will try to distance ourselves from any petty attempts to gain for my own corner of the SMA at the expense of another. Our task is a communal one, to seek what is best for the mission of the whole society for the coming 6 years. I conclude my address by offering a word of gratitude to a number of people. First of all, I wish to say a very sincere thank you to the members of my council and all the support staff at Nocheta. They have been immensely kind and extremely patient. I have depended on them to help me out with various language challenges and they have never failed to be gracious in their response. Our council experienced something of a rupture in the early years when Fachtna O'Driscoll was appointed by the Holy Father to be Bishop d'Assazoune in Benin Republic. Francois de Paul Mungue was elected to replace Francois at Plenary Council 215 and has settled in seamlessly to the team. Living in the community of Nocheta these past 6 years has been enormously enriching and enjoyable. A beautiful fraternal and naternal spirit permeates the place. It is a buzz of activity throughout the year. I could count on the fingers of one hand the number of days in these past 6 years when we were not blessed by visitors. Our Muslim brothers who have lived with us for the past 4 years have brought a freshness to daily life. And the Franciscan sisters of the Presentation of Mary from Coimbatore in India, through their joyful spirit and prayerful presence, contribute enormously to an atmosphere where one feels nourished in body, mind and spirit. I do not omit our dedicated lay staff, those who work in the archives and bursars department, and the many who give joyful and generous service in the domestic area. I conclude with this prayer. We pray, as we have been doing daily for the past months, for the prayer and preparation from this assembly. Gathered by Jesus Christ and fashioned by His Word, help us to move forward with a new vision in hope. Renew in us the joy of the gospel, so that we might be credible witnesses of the good news, especially in Africa. Our Lady, Queen of Africa, intercede for us throughout all our deliberations. I call on the servant of God, Melchior de Marian Breziak, and all our SMA missionaries who have gone before us to pray for us. And with these words, I declare open the 21st General Assembly of the Society of African Missions.